How fortunate we retirees are today. I'm just back from a walk, and about a quarter of an hour's walk from where I live is an old cemetery. It's quite a small cemetery and wouldn't have more than, say, 50 headstones in it. Most of the engravings on the headstones have been worn away by the weather, but you can make out a bit here and there. But this is only part of the story, because although there was only about 50 headstones, there was a little area where a plaque had been set up, or not so much a plaque, but a list of people whose bodies actually rested in that cemetery. And there were hundreds of them, hundreds. Obviously, only a few could afford a headstone. But as I looked at the ages, it gave the names and the ages in which they died. It came home to me very quickly that the average age was very young compared with today. It was hard to find anyone of 70, and even more hard to find anyone in their 80s or above. So many people died young. And of course there's lists of children with a name with perhaps 3M next to it, in other words 3 months, 2 months, women dying in childbirth and so forth. Most of them had no concept, I think, of actually retiring. They just lived, worked and died. That's why I say we're so fortunate today. We have a working span life and we look forward to retirement and expect to get there and expect to have it. And for the majority of us, we do. The other thing they wouldn't have had, of course, is pensions. Age pensions didn't exist in the 19th century. Now this cemetery covered the period from about 1810, 1820, and the latest was 1946. So it covered about 140 years or so. But before the first half of the last century even, people were dying young. Hardly any concept of a pension. And in many third world countries that still exists. But in the so-called advanced countries, the first tier countries such as North America, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, among these countries there is retirement, and it's been with us for a long while, and we expect to retire. Our big problem, we see it, is can I afford it? They never even considered it. We do. But when you have retired, after about 6 months or so, this is not your main priority. You've worked out by then whether or not you can afford it. And you probably can. The next thing you have to look at is, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? This becomes the big question then. How am I going to fill in the time? Well, there are many ways you can do that, and I won't go into that here. The third aspect is, will I remain healthy? That's up to you. Remember, exercise is better than pills. In the main line, exercise is probably your best health retention way of staying healthy. Exercise. It doesn't mean just pumping iron or taking a walk. Do the aerobics, do the yoga stretches, keep fit, eat well, and you will have a long and happy retirement, unlike those people whose headstones and names I saw in the cemetery I visited just a short time ago.